and welcome to the North Georgia Regional Net. I think I need my microphone.
Well, usually you're a little louder with the microphone in front of you. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Why don't you start that over?
All right. Let me break. Good evening and welcome to the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net, the most interesting net in two-way radio. Tonight we are live from Studio Vanguard and we are linked in with the following repeaters. Who's got the repeaters?
Tonight we're linked in with Flagship, Buckhead, McDonough, Fort Mountain, Peachtree, Jersey, Lula, Toccoa, Cades Cove, Rome, Columbus, Watkinsville, Noonan, Zebulon. We're linked in with Chattanooga, Lookout Mountain, White Oak, Mount Roosevelt, Georgetown, and Ottawa.
This net takes place every Thursday evening at 7:30 p.m. I would like to thank all of you who have made the North Georgia GMRS the most expansive and active GMRS network in the country. Your net control tonight is Atlanta 947, WQYR 514. My name is Julie.
And Atlanta 946, WQYR 514. My name is Justin.
I am Atlanta 557, and my name is Ed.
And this is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263, Rogers.
On the net, you can talk about your day's activities, radio equipment, or anything you think we would like to hear. This is a family-based network, so we encourage you to get your family involved. Guest check-ins are welcome from anyone with a valid FCC call sign. Once the floor is open, it is permissible to address other members of the net by their name or tactical unit number. Your FCC call sign is only required when you sign in and when you sign out of the net. Also, you can tune into our YouTube channel and follow along, or even better, tune in after the net to hear how you sound to us right here in Studio Vanguard. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment so we know you are watching. These interactions are what means the most to help our channel grow. So tonight, we are going to talk about our lifetime members.
Oh, very good. Yes. So this is the episode where we'd like to talk about our lifetime members and honor everyone who's contributed as a lifetime member, and also talk about the regular North Georgia GMRS membership and what that means to the network. Let's break.
So before we do, I think we have some announcements to make.
Well, we do have some announcements to make, and I just opened the wrong page, so we'll have to stall for just a moment while I find. There it is, weekly announcements. Open Sesame. And so good evening. This is Atlanta 946. My name is Justin with this week's announcements. In an ongoing effort to find and eliminate the intentional interference affecting North Georgia GMRS and other radio bands, a $2,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an FCC action related to that intentional interference. That's been happening on the network. That would go a long way toward improving your station or upgrading your radio equipment. So if you have any information, go ahead and forward that to either Gary at nggmrs.org or to me, Justin at nggmrs.org. And we'd love to put that $2,000 in someone's hands and be able to close this chapter. Tech Fest is coming up January 31st. This is going to be at the same location as the Stone Mountain Ham Fest. So the Gwinnett Amateur Radio Society hosts the Tech Fest each year. It is a free annual event specifically geared toward amateur radio enthusiasts. This event provides an excellent opportunity for individuals to learn about the latest developments in amateur radio technology, share knowledge and experience, and network with other amateur radio operators. Attendees can expect to see demonstrations of various types of equipment and attend presentations and workshops on a variety of topics. This event is great for anyone who is interested in amateur radio, whether you're a seasoned operator or just getting started. Attending the GARS Tech Fest is an excellent way to learn more about the hobby, make new contacts, and discover new ways to use amateur radio technology. So if you're passionate about amateur radio and want to stay up to date on the latest advancements, then attending the GARS Tech Fest is a must. There will be amateur radio testing from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. That's going to be $14 in cash, no Venmo, no Amex, $14 cash for the amateur radio testing. North Georgia GMRS and North Georgia Amateur Radio Association will have a booth at the GARS Tech Fest. So come on out and hang out with us at the Tech Fest, and it'll be a great chance. You know, if you're a GMRS user, you can come on out and you can meet us and shake hands and that sort of thing. Ask any questions that you might have about the network. If you're thinking about becoming engaged in amateur radio, we'd love to talk to you about that as well. Let's break. And we'll see if we can get you pointed in the right direction to move over towards amateur radio. You know, it's interesting that historically North Georgia GMRS has had between 30 and 50% of our members as amateur radio licensees as well. And right now, I think that number is hovering right around 39%. So we'd love to see that bump up a little bit. And we've always thought of GMRS radio as kind of a gateway radio habit that would lead to other radio endeavors. So GMRS radio is great because it's an entry level medium. You don't need to know anything other than how to navigate the FCC website. And some people will tell you that that is a test in and of itself. But you don't need to pass a radio exam to acquire your GMRS license. And there's some other unique features and functions to GMRS that's not available to amateurs. But once you've come to that point where you're pretty well experienced in GMRS, amateur radio is the next logical step to take. And we would just encourage anybody that has an interest to go ahead and pursue that amateur radio license, either with us or with another group. It doesn't really matter. And just like to encourage folks to keep moving in that direction. All right, we've got some lunches and gatherings to talk about. So if you're interested in these, grab a pencil, get your calendar out, and you can make some notes for coming events. The Northeast crew will be having their lunch meetup for December in just a few weeks. It's going to be a little bit early because of the upcoming holidays. Their next meeting is going to be on December 17th at 11 a.m. at Rooster's Cafe in Dahlonega. Of course, all current and future NG GMRS and NG ARA members are welcome. Stop by, have some good laughs, some good food with a bunch of really good people. If you're interested in that, want more information, you can reach out to Bobby, Atlanta 403, or to Joe, Gainesville 44. You can catch them on the air most evenings, probably even through the day. Give it a shot. Who knows? Also, the Peachtree Corners Brunch Bunch meets the third Saturday of every month at JR's Log House in Peachtree Corners. It's going to be at 6601 Peachtree Industrial Boulevard. It's always a good time. Saturday, December 20 will be their next brunch. That's just before Christmas. And who knows what surprises Pamela has in her holiday stocking. Ed, do you know?
No, I don't. It's always a surprise.
Yeah, well, I guess there's only one way to find out, and that is to show up. We once again, we're out of town.
Yeah.
We gotta go to Fayetteville. Let's break.
Always.
So maybe in 26 we can catch up with Pamela and the crew over at JR's Log House. I'd love to try it out.
Yeah.
So I've seen the menu, and it looks like some pretty good food. Rogers can tell you. What's the food like over there, Rogers?
It's excuse me. It's great. I always get the omelet. The pancakes are great too if you have a little bit of a sweet tooth.
Mm-hmm.
And the lunch menu is pretty good too. So they have a lunch and breakfast. So whatever you're feeling like, they have it.
Well, fantastic. Yeah. I guess that's why they call it the brunch. The brunch bunch. So
exactly.
very good. I hadn't considered the lunch. You know, everybody loves breakfast. I mean, if you get an excuse to eat breakfast twice in a day,
I think that's my
That's a
favorite
good
meal.
day.
I think
Yeah.
you should.
Yeah.
We have on occasion, not very often, but on occasion, we've had, eggs and toast and bacon and stuff, at dinner time.
Sure.
We're not very regular at that, but every now and then.
They have very good food and lots of it, so be prepared to take some home.
Ah.
You will get a box.
Yeah, all right.
And the prices are right too.
Yeah.
If you spend $15, you're doing it big.
okay.
Really?
All
Yeah.
right. Well, that's good because this day and age, it's hard to find a good meal, that's not $20.
That's
so,
right.
that's good stuff. All right. If you have any questions, send an email to Pamela at skygazerpamela849@gmail.com. Once again, that's skygazerpamela849@gmail.com. Let her know that you're coming, and she'll save a spot for you. If you don't let her know, then there might not be any spots.
We can make a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's bound to be something. All right, and the Chattanooga group has a lunch, but I don't know when it is, or exactly where it is. Could be at Champy's. It could be at Sugar's. It could be out at that farm. It could be anywhere. Let me break. The Kennesaw Gathering. Ed, you might know something about this. They're going to have their next Meet and Geek on Tuesday, January 13 at the Old Town Grill on Cobb Parkway. That's right around the corner from the McCollum Airport in Kennesaw. That's going to be at noon. Bring your radio or your Mesh-tastic programming issues for discussion and hopefully for resolution. They'll have a mobile test bench available after lunch where they can test and program the most popular radios or help you set up your Mesh-tastic node. Please reach out to Ed Atlanta 557 beforehand on the air or via email. What's your email address, Ed?
WRQG806@gmail.com.
One more time.
WRQG806@gmail.com.
If you're planning to attend, send an email to Ed so they can be sure he has enough seats. If you don't send an email, they could run out of seats. It's not likely, but it is possible. So let them know that you're coming, and they'll be sure they've got a spot just for you. And have you heard about our latest project? The North Georgia Amateur Radio Association is just getting started. We have 5 repeaters on the air right now, with 2 more by year's end and 3 to deploy in 2026. You must have an amateur radio license to become a member, but if another radio mode interests you, then visit ngara.net for more information. Love to have, we have quite a list of NGA members on the roster already. I think it's not quite 100, but last I saw it was like 96.
That's about right.
So it's a pretty decent roster right out of the gate. We're only a couple of months old, so.
And you know what made me get on that roster? I don't know if you remember, but maybe 4 or 5 months ago, we were doing a net, and you're like, "Oh, raise your hand if you have your amateur license in here." Everyone's hands shot up, except for mine.
Except.
So you know what? I said, you know what? I gotta go get that ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you do.
here we go.
You didn't like being singled out?
I didn't. I
Ah.
took it as some good competition or a good, it
but
was a
you-
good boost for me.
But you are the standout here. I mean, you're the one down there at Master Control, making all the magic happen. Yeah. There's
But-
all kinds of talent down there at that end of the room.
Yeah, but at the end of the night, I still couldn't participate in the 2-meter contest, the 2-meter simplex.
Well, how you doing on it now?
Having fun.
Very
Having
good.
fun. Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. So there's just one more testimonial of the opportunities in radio. They just never end. And moving into the amateur radio realm just gives you one more mode that you can. What's more than one? You can do 2-meter. You can do 440. You can do. Oh yeah, the lights flash, and that means I got a break. And Dana says we're at 99 on the ARA roster.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So-
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah. But so amateur radio, I would just encourage anybody that if you feel like you're at a point in GMRS radio where you're hungry for the next level of radio participation, amateur radio is where it's at. And if you need help finding a location for testing, or if you just need help in studying, reach out to us. Let us know that you have an interest and you'd like some help. We've got some resources that we can get you connected with right away. We've got some that are free. We've got some that are not free but are very interesting, and we will be offering free amateur radio testing. So what's nice about that is, I mean, even if you don't feel like you're ready, you can go to the test, and at least you can get that exposure. You know that you sat for a test, even if you don't pass it. You can at least get that notch in your belt that you've been there, done that. And so the next time that you go, you can have kind of a sense of what to expect and what the process is like, and, you know, take some comfort in not having to stress over the process, because you have some familiarity with it at that point.
Now, I have the fan right above me, so I may have misunderstood, but I thought you said that the costs for the exams were free. Don't most clubs and organizations charge for those?
Yeah, they do. And so we're affiliated with the Laurel VEC, and one of the conditions of the Laurel affiliation is that we have to provide amateur radio testing at no charge. And we're happy to do that. Another one of the features of the Laurel VEC program is that all of our test results are uploaded electronically. The tests are graded electronically, and the results are uploaded electronically, and oftentimes new hams are issued call signs within a couple of hours, provided the FCC is open, you know, the government's open, you know, all of those kind of things can come into play. But if the stars are aligned and the electronic ones and zeros are delivered as expected, then you can have a call sign sometimes in the same day.
That is great.
So, and if it's an upgrade, you know, obviously the upgrade is effective as soon as you have your test results. But you can get the update in the database pretty quickly through the Laurel VE program because of the electronic uploads. So finally, just a quick programming note that there will be no net on Christmas or on New Year's. So it'll be Christmas Eve and it'll be New Year's Eve. No net. We'll be celebrating with family and friends. I noticed fireworks stands are popping up at the gas stations. Isn't that the most bizarre place for a fireworks stand? At a gas station?
It's a lot of foot traffic.
It seems like those two things should not go together. But they've got the little portable fireworks stand set up in a parking lot at Walmart. I saw one being put up at a gas station today. You know, the fireworks are they're about to happen, and celebrating the new year. I think that a lot of people will be celebrating. This neighborhood will rock with fireworks. It always does. It's been a little bit mild last year for the 4th, so maybe the economy has had its toll on fireworks purchases.
I think so.
But in years past, it's been like a war zone for any major holiday, and this is going to be one of them. So for those of you who are able to stay up until midnight and ring in the new year, be careful with the fireworks. We hope that you have the same number of fingers and toes next year as you have this year, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But that's it. That's it for the announcements. If you have any questions or comments or news to share, send me an email at justin@nggmrs.org. If you have an event coming up and it's radio related, let me know. And if you want us to talk about it on the air, we'd be happy to do that. And back to you, Julie.
All right. Well, that was a lot. So thank you for all of that. And if you missed any of that and you're interested in hearing it again, you can always go on to our YouTube channel and follow along there. So with that, this week, in lieu of tips, we want to recognize the lifetime members of North Georgia GMRS Network. Not only are these individuals serious about their support, but they have committed to the long haul of the network. We would like to thank all of our members for supporting the network. It is because of you that this network exists. But today, we want to take a special pause and recognize those who have contributed in a large way to make capital improvements possible. I just want to apologize in advance if I butcher your name. I'm going to do the best I can. So the following is a list of our lifetime members. Let me break. We have Todd Bowden, Atlanta 47. Daniel Tamburino, Atlanta 267. William Galloway, Atlanta 420. Alfonso Cornelius, Atlanta 912. C.V. Smith, Gainesville 285. Pete Seabolt, Blue Ridge 83. James Hawthorne, Atlanta 770. Dan Huffman, Atlanta 308. Bruce Holmes, McDonough 39. Maureen Alley, Atlanta 956. John Wolf, Atlanta 810. Ed Dione, thank you. Chat 007. Chad Cohn, Atlanta 800. Mark Newton, Atlanta 50. Jeff Karen, Atlanta 750. Jared Bloomer, McDonough 134. Todd Elliott, Atlanta 1402. Dave Thornton, Atlanta 201. Gary Beckstead Jr., Atlanta 62. Tom Watley, Blue Ridge 20. Amy Grammer, Atlanta 651. Shannon Shockley, Noonan 33. Chris Lucas, Atlanta 66. Jennifer Unzer, Atlanta 430. Sam Peng, Atlanta 322. Michael Warnke, Atlanta 988. Mike Barr, Silent Key, Blue Ridge 549. Shannon Sims, Atlanta 551. Walter Hill, Atlanta 758. Philip Sutherland, Chattanooga 220. Scott Fowler, Atlanta 1180. Matt Barr, Blue Ridge 181. Jeffrey Baum, Atlanta 980. David Waits, Dallas 37. Tom Kirkbride, Noonan 44. Philip Hager, Atlanta 26. Let me break. Mike Beauchamp, Blue Ridge 63. Timo Kirschner, is that right?
Timo
Kirschner.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Timo. Atlanta 1415. Justin Byerly, Atlanta 946. Dale Todd, Atlanta 870. Anthony Perales, Atlanta 565. David Poe, Atlanta 610. Jack Parks, Noonan 75. Stephen Sauls, Atlanta 314. William Fisher, Atlanta 738. Brett Reese, Dallas 69. Chris Brown, Atlanta 607. Steve Forrester, Atlanta 24. Ed Marston, Silent Key, Atlanta 73. David Marsteller, Toccoa 10. We hope you'll join us in honoring the North Georgia GMRS lifetime members, and we hope you'll consider renewing your membership to support this network for 2026. Thanks to all of you who have made the North Georgia GMRS Network the largest and most active network in the country. We are North Georgia GMRS Network, and this is WQIR 514, Atlanta 947. And I'm going to turn it back to you guys, and I'm going to say good night, everyone.
All right, Julie. Well, thank you for that, and thanks for that roster of lifetime members. That's quite a roster, quite a large number of people that have chosen to make that financial commitment to allow us to be able to make capital improvements and big gains in building out the infrastructure and updating the equipment, the technology. We're using just cutting edge linking technology on this network, and there are some improvements that we still would like to make, and we have some areas that we would like to be able to fill in a little bit better. We'll see what we're able to do in time as the new budget comes together, and what that allows. Right now we're kind of in a wait and see mode, so we'll wait and see how things shake out and what we're capable of doing for 2026. But no matter what the budget does for 2026, we expect to be here, and we expect to remain a linked network for the foreseeable future. There's some questions on the horizon as to whether or not that's sustainable. I believe that it is. I believe strongly that we are in full compliance with Part 95 FCC rules, and that if we weren't, we would have seen by now a letter from the FCC informing us of our violation. The fact that we've not seen that letter is a strong indicator that they're unable to find the specific violation to assign to us. So until something comes together along that lines, we're going to continue to operate as a linked repeater network, and in confidence that we are on the correct side of the controversy regarding Part 95 FCC rules. One thing that I just want to make a mention of, the rules really haven't changed in relationship to linking. Even though there were rule changes in 2017 and again in 2021, rules regarding linking have been consistent throughout all that time. We have been linking since 2012. So if there was something wrong with us linking before 2017, that should have been addressed, with that set of rule changes, and it wasn't. So a lot of people point to the fact that there's a paragraph in the Part 95 rules that specifically say that GMRS linking is not allowed. However, that's not a Part 95 rule. That's an interpretation. That's an opinion. That's not a rule, and that's not something that is enforceable. And so it's actually inaccurate. It's a mistake for them to make that statement on that page, because when you go back to the specific Part 95 rules, let me break. The specific Part 95 rules talk about a number of methods in which linking is not allowed. In particular, it talks about linking through a public switch network, which at the time the rules were written would have been a telephone network. In the 60s, the internet was just a thought of potential, of a potential that wasn't really commercially viable. So there's no rule in those Part 95 rules that specifically identify the internet as a prohibited means of linking. If the FCC intended there to be no linking of GMRS repeaters, then it would have been very simple for the FCC to say there could be no linking of GMRS repeaters. It could be as simple as that. But they went out to specify no linking through the public switch telephone network. And that's not how we link. So we're not in violation of those rules, and we continue to operate in confidence that we are on the correct side of the interpretation of Part 95 rules. So just a little clarification for those of you that are wondering what to expect for 2026. I expect no changes, certainly nothing until we are contacted through official channels from the FCC. Now, we have had unofficial contact, so they know who we are and they know how to reach us. They know what we're doing. There's no doubt about that. We're not hiding from anything. All of our information is publicly available on the internet, We are as transparent with our operation as we possibly could be. So for those who are opposed to what North Georgia GMRS is doing, I would encourage you to contact the FCC and file your complaint with the FCC. If the FCC finds a violation, they'll contact us, but I don't think they will, as the rules are written today. So with that in mind, I think that we have the confidence to be able to continue with this network, and with your support, we certainly will. So I just want to leave it at that, and just say thanks to all of you who've supported the network to this point. Ed, what do you think? You think we should take some additional check-ins?
I think that would be a great idea.
Well, before we do that, let me go ahead and take a moment and grab some of these YouTube check-ins, if I can figure out where my mouse has scrolled to. We have a guest check-in from WRYZ968. We don't have a name or a location. For folks that are checking in on YouTube, if you could add that, our roster doesn't pull up the guest check-ins quite like it does with our membership. So, but we do want to go ahead and call you out and acknowledge you. We'd love to have you along. Let me break. Also on YouTube, we have Chattanooga 179 Brett in Chattanooga is YouTube check-in. We have WSKK200, another guest check-in without a name or location. Glad to have you along tonight. We have Atlanta 1155 Shanna in Canton is a guest check-in on YouTube. Atlanta 245 Thomas in Powder Springs. We have Rome 11 Mark in Adairsville, and Rome 12 Mark in Rome checking in on YouTube. Another guest check-in from WRZD727 from Cincinnati, Ohio. We have Atlanta 374 Lamar in Dawsonville. And finally, we have WRQE398 is a guest check-in from Hayesville, Kansas. Is that R. Ferguson, I believe? Just for some reason that Kansas and R. Ferguson just rolls into my mind. Back to Chattanooga 179. He says he's about to take the tech test and asking where and when the next test session. So the next test session I'm aware of is the $14 test session at the GARS Tech Fest on January 31. You can go to the ARRL website and search for test locations, and it'll give you a list. You can punch in your zip code, and it will give you a list of local areas for testing. And as we develop our testing program, we will definitely share those dates and locations with you. I'd love to have the opportunity to test some of our members.
And just as a comment, if you do not have a test site near you, remember you could also take it online. So you could sign up and have the test taken from the comfort of your own home, and you will have a test done, and at the end of it you'll get your grade just like you would if you had traveled to a test site. So that's always available if you do not find one in the time frame that you need or in the geography that you need. So just don't forget that. And I believe those are also listed, or the organizations are listed in the AARL website as well, that you could search.
Yeah, so and lots of opportunities to test. Looking forward to adding more of the North Georgia GMRS membership. Get that 39% number back up to around 50, where it used to be. So good stuff. Also, comment from WSKK200, first time listener. Glad to have you along tonight. So thanks for hanging out with North Georgia GMRS, and hope that this is the first time of many. And 1155 comment is that would be Tony's better half. So thanks for hanging out and checking in. Let me reset this light. And Mark is working late tonight, so Rome 12, appreciate you checking in with us on YouTube. Probably sitting in a truck watching us on this phone. Glad to have you along. Got three more four more YouTube check-ins here. Let me grab those real quick. We have WRXD340 David in Wichita is checking in on YouTube. We have WSIL985 Mark in Valley, Kansas. We have Chattanooga 69 Ronnie in Las Vegas is checking in on YouTube. And we have WRZQ419 Daniel in Ohatchee, Alabama. Is that right?
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
Yep.
I hope that's right. Let me know if it isn't, and I'll see if I can get it right the next time around. Thanks for all those check-ins. We'll continue with check-ins from the RF side of the fence. And Tony, if you can kind of keep on helping us out there with check-ins from the Studio Falcon, he says that is. All right. That's interesting. Glad to have the assistance, Tony, with the YouTube check-ins. Let's continue. Anyone checking in from any repeater other than Flagship, please call net control.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. This is WSGN 280, CW57, Operator Bruce, Stevens, Georgia. In and out. Great job, guys. This is stupid motherfucker. Stupid son of a bitch.
This is Whiskey Sierra Hotel Golf 331, Atlanta 350, checking in and out on the Buckhead repeater.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
This is WSGX 490, Atlanta 194. This is Scott from Atlanta, checking in and checking out.
So 194.
194.
Joseph. Oh, yeah. 194. Yeah.
Perfect.
That's your fantastic
Hmm?
cohorts. Scott.
Oh, yeah. No. Oh, yes. Scott Jones.
I keep hearing North Georgia GMRS has around 1,000 members. So if each member is $100 per year, that is $100,000. And add sales and service from Hobbit Communications, and you get about $150,000 a year. Where is that money going when it's supposed to be a non-profit organization?
We just tee up.
I can't.
Sick 'em. Get on them.
All right, let's go ahead and acknowledge this round of check-ins. We have CW57 Operator Bruce in Stevens, Georgia. I've got you marked as in, but he's typically in and out. We'll see what happens when we get there. Atlanta 350 Ted in Tucker is in and out. We have a YouTube check-in from Columbus 25 Peter in West Point. We have Atlanta 194 Scott in Atlanta is in and out. Also, YouTube check-ins from Atlanta 306 George in Loganville. Toccoa 10 David in Lakemont and Atlanta 379, Scott in Sandy Creek, New York. We'll continue with check-ins from any repeater anywhere, including the flagship machine. Net Control standing by.
This is WRBG 415 Atlanta 11, John and Ken. Check me in and out for tonight.
This is SJN 275 Atlanta 313, Steve and Swanee checking in and out, please.
Do you want me to go over here and so you can...
Let's see. All right, we have WSKG. How do I get that wrong? It's right here in front of me. WSKJ 854 is a YouTube check-in from Fulton, Georgia. Glad to have you along tonight. Atlanta 11 John is an RF check-in from Canton, in and out. And we have Atlanta 313 Stephen in Sewanee is also in and out. I missed that the Fulton check-in from WSKJ 854 says shout out to St. Louis. Glad to have you along. All right, that's where we're at. You guys can continue making check-ins from YouTube. We'll check in with that when we get close to the end of the roster. If you didn't get checked in, there will be one more round of late check-ins. When we get to the end, we'll acknowledge all of the YouTube check-ins that Tony collects and any additional RF check-ins at that time. But for now, I think we're going to go to the top of the roster. Most people are in and out, so we don't have a lot of active participation tonight, but we do have a few. And it looks like our first one is going to be Atlanta 1150, Tony from Studio Falcon. Tell me about Studio Falcon. Is that something that has been in the works for a while now, or did you just dream that up tonight?
Well, you had all your Vanguard studios listed in the roster, so I thought I'd put something in there. But AKA, that's the office where my radio is at.
Very nice. That kind of is how Studio B came to be. Is that, you know, Julie, back in the days when Julie was the net control, and I was just the sidekick that would come in with a comment here or there, you know, at the end of the desk with the OBS studio video switcher in our USB webcams back in the early days of live streaming. I would often refer to my working position as Studio B. And that kind of has evolved into Studio Byerly or the Studio B productions that we operate now. So it was an evolutionary thing that just came from the spur of the moment. So what I'm getting at, Tony, is that Studio Falcon could just be the idea that got sparked and could turn into something as expensive as Studio B. So who knows what you've just opened up. Tony, what are your thoughts with the membership in North Georgia GMRS and lifetime members?
I'm glad to see everybody logging in tonight and checking out the net. But, yeah, the lifetime members, wow, what a commitment, right? And all the new members that I've seen, new members pop up on Facebook and all that they just keep rolling in and all that. I'm glad to see that the membership is still growing to this day. And all those that haven't joined or haven't renewed, it is renewed all the time. So I just want to say I appreciate the network. I am glad it's here. It's always benefited me in every way.
Very good stuff. And that's a good point, Tony. It is time for renewals. And for those that became a member sometime along the way during 2025, all memberships become due for renewal in January. We don't really have the manpower or the mechanisms to be able to keep track of, like a subscription oriented service where you became a member in October, then you become, due for renewal in October. We just don't have a way of tracking that. So all of our memberships, as indicated in the MOU, become eligible for renewal in January. So if you can renew before January, then we can preserve your tactical unit number. If you wait until January to renew, it could very well be that when we reset the roster, your tactical number becomes reassigned. So to avoid that, I would recommend that you either A, make sure you get your renewal in before the end of the year, or B, send an email to Gary at nggmrs.org and let him know of your intentions to renew so that he can put a marker in your tactical unit spot so that we don't reassign that. Do one of those two things, and we'll endeavor to preserve your tactical unit number. Every year we have a certain number of members that do not renew, and they just go away, and sometimes we hear from them again later in the year. Sometimes we never see them ever again. Knowing what radio hobbies are, right? So a lot of people get interested, they get excited about the hobby, and then they come to a point where, I'm just not doing it enough to be able to spend, the money to keep this up. And maybe I've spent too much money on stuff. Maybe I found other interests, and I'd rather be brewing beer than talking on the radio. Or maybe I'd rather be out hunting than talking on the radio. Or maybe I'd be out doing motorsports. There are so many things that take up our time. And so sometimes the radio hobby is not the priority, and people just move on. We understand that, and we expect that. So we anticipate in January there's going to be a significant drop in our membership roster. And if you look at the historical data that's available on our roster webpage, you'll see that happens year after year. That we peak in our membership, and then at the beginning of the year it drops way down. So in January, anybody that hasn't renewed, we're going to go ahead and remove those individuals from the roster, assuming that they've chosen to do other things. They're engaged in other activities, and that's perfectly fine. Glad to have had your support. Thank you for being a part of North Georgia GMRS, and if you choose to go on with other things, that's okay too. And if you decide later in the year to come back, let's break. We'd love to have you back. So, and if it's a financial reason that's keeping you from being able to renew, let us know, and we'll see what we can do. We do have the opportunity sometimes to be able to help out with some sponsored memberships. So if that's something that you have a need for, you can reach out to either me or Gary, and we'll see about making that happen. We'll handle those requests very discreetly, and I'll just say that there have been a small handful of requests that we've already looked at this year, and I'm sure there will be a few more. So we'll entertain circumstances if that's where you're at and you're just not able to scrape the money together, but you do want to be involved. Let us know. We'll figure it out.
So if I am one of those folks that want to take advantage and continue to use this network next year, I'm sure I can go to the website and scroll down to the bottom maybe and look up the different membership levels and see which one is right for me, and even go down there and renew online, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our webpage, there is an opportunity to find the various membership levels and choose whatever fits you. And I would also make mention, so many times we're excited about this and we want to get our whole family involved. But as it turns out, our family doesn't play. Like for instance, Dan and Julia. How many times have we heard Julia on the air? Like twice?
She is very close. She's very close, but it's usually Dan, but she is with Dan most of the time.
Well, that's good. I would love to hear Julia on the air more frequently, but you may have a spouse that you've listed as a secondary member with the intention that this person, or maybe you've listed your spouse and your kids, thinking that you want to get your kids involved. You want to be able to have a radio in their hands, so that when they go home at the end of the weekend, if you've got a message for them, you can just reach out and get them over the radio, and that just never played out because they just won't play with you on the radio. If that happens, consider remaining a member, but maybe excluding the rest of the family on your membership. Now, if you have a family member that engages in the radio infrequently, we don't really have an objection to an infrequent user on the network, especially if it's a family member. If that user becomes regular, then we expect membership support from that user. So what I'm getting at is maybe we can save a few bucks, and you can go ahead and renew for yourself, and give up some of those family spots so that we can at least keep you as a member, and then later, if the family does become involved, we can look at making. We can look at making an upgrade to your membership level to include those family members, but that might be an opportunity to get you in the game and keep you here, and also maybe save a few bucks. So something to consider in terms of maintaining your membership. The most important thing in my mind is that you stay connected with us, and that we can continue to enjoy this network, because we do rely on the support of our members. That's where the money comes from to pay for repairs and upgrades. That's where the money comes from to expand the network. That's what we live on. So nobody's making a paycheck here. We heard some traffic from time to time that talks about the $100,000, $150,000 that Gary brings in every year. There's a lot of false information to that, and I've seen the numbers, and I've never seen it at $100,000. We've also got the misconception that Hobbit Communications is a nonprofit. It's not really profitable, but it is a for-profit corporation. Hobbit Communications is separate from North Georgia GMRS. It exists in support of North Georgia GMRS. And I'll tell you, the primary reason Hobbit Communication exists is because we hear so many times of people that are new to radio, new to GMRS, and are excited about getting a good radio, and they hear recommendations from other users to go out and get a Bofang, a BTEC, a Woshi, Woshit radio. I always say that wrong.
Ocean.
And they buy that radio, and the Woshit radio's got a great customer service program. If you burn a radio up, they will replace it, I guess, almost no questions asked. Several users have gone through a couple of those radios. But one thing about, if you get a radio from Hobbit Communications, it comes with a 3-year warranty that you don't even care about, because you're not going to burn it up. You're not going to be replacing this radio. It's a commercial grade radio. It's built like a tank. These things are built to go into dump trucks. They go into garbage trucks. They go into police cars. They're not used gently in their commercial service. So these radios, and what's fascinating is for about the same money, maybe just a few dollars more than the Woshi radio, you can have a Kenwood radio, which may not have the flash and bells and whistles that the Woshi radio has, but it's solid and it's built like a tank, and you're not going to have warranty claims with that radio. And if you do, it'll be handled right here locally at Hobbit Communications. That's why Hobbit Communications exists, because we wanted the opportunity to put high quality, high performance radios in the hands of our users, instead of people just, all that's out there is the cheap Chinese radios that work pretty well, and they sound okay, and they perform, good enough, but they don't hold up over time. They so many times we hear of people with warranty claims on those radios, and it's great that they will replace the radio for you, but you're also out of that radio for a period of time, and when you get the replacement in, the first thing you have to do is program it. So we can help you escape those inconveniences by taking a look at Hobbit Communications, which is not a nonprofit company.
And the other thing that I wanted to make note when we're talking about prices of things is the cost that goes into maintaining this linked repeater system. And I was floored when I heard some of the estimates. Those of us that were around a year and a half ago remember Flagship getting hit by lightning, I think. And it took thousands of dollars just to get Flagship back up, and that's just one instance. If the feed line, that's very expensive. The antennas are very expensive. Anytime any work has to be done on a repeater that's damaged, we have to hire a professional climber, and that's thousands of dollars. Every one of these things is multiple thousands of dollars. So one hit on a repeater could be a $10,000, $15,000 item just to get back on the air. So it's not cheap by any means, and you multiply that by 20 some odd repeaters that we have, and that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and it's a big investment just in maintenance and things like antennas. The DB420 antenna that we use primarily at most of our sites, that's a DC grounded antenna. So what that means is that antenna can take a direct strike. It can take a direct lightning strike, and it will pass all of the energy from that lightning strike into the tower structure. A small amount of that energy may go into the feed line, but because we are properly installing our feed lines with ground kits at the top and at every point at which the feed line changes direction, we install a ground kit. And then there's another ground kit installed as soon as it enters the structure. And then we're using polyphaser lightning arresters inside the structure. So we're doing all of the proper things to protect our equipment from lightning. And for the most part, it works. The damage that we had at Flagship was lightning related, but it wasn't because of the antenna installation. It was because of the ubiquity dish that was on the antenna. That energy came into the building through that Cat 5 cable, and destroyed the ubiquity switch, and it also destroyed some other equipment in the cabinet where that ubiquity switch was at. So that piece of equipment is not really commercially hardened for tower installation. So that's something and that was how we carried our Blue Ridge link. So we decided not to replace that equipment because of the risk it posed in terms of lightning damage in the structure. So that's one of the choices that we had to make. We would like to have maintained that microwave link to the Blue Ridge site, but just really wasn't a feasible thing to do. And then because the Blue Ridge site got such little use, we went ahead and decommissioned it because of the cost of maintaining that equipment. And the structure that we had at the Blue Ridge site was pretty ratty, and I mean that in the most visual sense that you can imagine. So maintaining equipment in that environment is not pleasant to do, and so we chose to just go ahead, because there was such little use there, to go ahead and decommission that site, and we are looking for other alternative sites within that region, and if we come up with one, we'll explore it. But these are all things that come into play and can impact our operations. If that's where your membership comes into play, your support means that we're able to maintain these sites and keep them up and running when events like that happen.
That's right.
All right, Ed, I want to go ahead and get your comments with regards to membership and your thoughts on lifetime membership. And
well, I am very glad that we have such a high number of lifetime memberships, but it's the one-year memberships, the multiple memberships, the silver and so forth, that really pay the bills. And we just finished talking about how expensive just one lightning hit is, and we really couldn't do this without membership. We couldn't do this without the dues that we pay every year. And from my perspective, I pay for 2 memberships for myself and for my wife. My wife is a very infrequent user, but I know that the money's going towards a good cause, and it helps in small way to maintain the network, keeping it going, keeping it running. So I want to thank everyone that contributes and helps us maintain this leading network, this commercial grade network, because everything that we have is commercial. It's not something you buy at Gigaparts or somewhere else. So it really couldn't. It's not a hyperbole to say that we couldn't do it without the membership.
Yeah, and certainly not at this level. And you look at a lot of the amateur sites that are out there and GMRS sites that are out there. They're cobbled together with a couple of mobile radios and a repeater controller, or they're cobbled together with even more modest equipment than that. And they're using a $100 antenna or a $200 antenna. I really like that Comet 712. That is a great antenna, but you put that thing 200 feet up on a tower, and you'll be replacing it every season. It just will not last in that environment. So we use the CommScope DB420 antenna primarily because it is a commercial grade, heavy duty hardened antenna with good gain numbers and good performance. And it's an easy antenna to install and tune, but it's not cheap. We used to be able to buy that antenna. We used to be able to find them used all over the place, and those antennas would perform very well as a used antenna, and we could buy those with confidence and put them into service. But they're harder to find in good condition now as a used antenna. But to buy a new antenna 5-6 years ago, about $1,100, plus another $100 for shipping. So for $1,200, you're into a brand new DB420 antenna. Now, those antennas are easily double that, if not more. So you're looking at least $2,500. Let me break. At least $2,500 just for the antenna. And then we talked about the hard line that we use. In most cases, we're using 1 5/8. We just installed some of that 1 5/8 on a tower project for one of our members, and just the connectors on that cable are $150 an end. So the connectors are a lot of expense. The everything about it, the polyphaser, the ground kits, $30-$40 a piece. You're going to have 2, 3, maybe 4 of them on your feed line. It's all expensive stuff, and it all becomes a part of the cost of having commercial grade equipment. But when you do that, you have stations and you have equipment that's going to be far more reliable than a couple of mobiles in a rack mount plate and a repeater controller.
And that's exactly right. I mean, we are all used to thinking as consumers, thinking as home shack operators. And when you look at that and you say, okay, $200 for an antenna for home, that's great. The 712 is an excellent antenna. Hobbit Communications sells them, I believe. And I know lots of people that use it and are very happy. Carmine down in Noonan has had great success with that antenna. But like you said, you take that and put that on top of a 300-foot tower, on top of a 3,200-foot mountain, and I can probably count on my hands and my fingers the number of weeks that it's going to survive before something has to be done to it.
Oh yeah, and by the time you hire a crew to stick that antenna up there, we're not allowed to climb our towers anymore because of insurance reasons. Right. So, when we first took on that site at Flagship, I can't tell you how many times we would put together a crew of volunteers and have 10 or 15 people up at the site and have our own people on the tower doing all of that tower work. Gary himself must have been on that tower a dozen times. Being a part of the ground crew, I couldn't be more proud of the work that we accomplished as a team of volunteers at that site. We had some great contributors from a lot of great people at that site. Had some great adventures and stories along the way. We had bears show up on the grounds one time while we were working on that tower. Mama Bear and her 2 cubs had come over, checking out the hog trap while we're there working. This is the most amazing thing to be a part of. But we're not allowed to do that anymore for insurance reasons. So we do have commercial insurance and liability coverage because of some of the sites that we're on demand that we have that coverage, and as a result, we risk losing our coverage if we are on our own towers. So we have to have that work done commercially. Let me break. So that's another significant expense that we've taken on anytime we need to go up a tower. So we might wait and defer some of our maintenance up there because we want to wait until we have maybe 2 reasons to go up instead of just one, and kill 2 birds with one tower climb kind of a situation. So these are all things that come into this, and this is where the money goes to help pay for things. We hear some misinformation over the air about all the money and where does it go. This is where it goes. It's not cheap, and we don't do things like a ham club does. We do things like a commercial entity would do it, and we try to maintain the highest of standards in our installations and in our equipment. And we've gained a lot of respect over the years from other radio professionals because of the quality of our installations.
And I think if anyone's interested in seeing what you were just describing, if I'm correct, I think on the nggmrs.org webpage, if you scroll all the way to the end, there's a section with some photos from the good old days where you can actually see some of the initial members pulling up antennas onto sites and things like that back when we could do that. Yeah, and there's still some occasions where we can do a lot of the work from the ground. We can minimize the amount of time that a tower crew has to be on the tower. We can do some things to kind of mitigate some of those expenses and some of those costs, but we can't avoid them completely. And so that's all stuff that kind of comes into the realm of what we do. Yeah, but you're right. Insurance drives a lot of what we do, not just in NGGMRS, but in our life. And we are insured. We have to be insured, and there are limitations, so we can't do that anymore. But that just adds to the cost. Adds to the cost. If your car gets stolen, and when the police recover your car, if your keys are in it, that will affect how the insurance company pays. Did not know that. So if you're one of those who tends to leave your key fob in the vehicle, don't do that. Yeah, it's good to know. Don't do that. So that can all these things are driven by insurance these days. And looking at storm damage in certain parts of the country and fire damage, there are insurance companies that are just refusing to cover in certain parts of the country. Imagine living someplace where you can't buy insurance. Oh yeah, I'm sure that they are looking for anything they can grab onto that would either minimize what they have to pay out or allow them to not pay at all. Yeah. So, and that's we're not really facing any of those kind of risks with North Georgia GMRS. I don't think there's. Let me break. I don't think there's any fear that we're going to get dropped because we are in compliance with their expectations and their rules, and we are not filing fraudulent claims or frivolous claims. In fact, the insurance doesn't really even cover things like lightning damage. It's really just a liability policy. It protects our site owners if we do something that damages equipment in their bungalow, on their tower, in their building, etc. So it's a liability policy that protects anybody that we might affect, rather than having insurance that would maybe replace an antenna if it got hit by lightning. I think we could probably get that insurance, but I don't think it's worth the cost. Nothing is for free, and if we filed a couple of claims for antennas, those rates would soon be unreachable, I think. So, Rogers, did you have any comments you'd like to add here? You want to reset?
Well, I would say, buy once, cry once.
Right.
As you were talking about the DB420, I looked online and I put a graphic up. Those things are going for $4,000 now. $3,000, $4,000, even almost $5,000. And
in a lot of cases, shipping on top of that. So, shipping used to be $100 for something like that. It's $600 now. So that is not something that you really want to. But the buy once, cry once. Once you've got one of those things on your site, they're really hard to damage. You might damage the phasing harness. That weather and wear and tear can cause a phasing, but you can replace that. That's not something you have to buy the whole antenna for, and that can be shipped in a cardboard box with UPS. But 20 feet of antenna, aluminum pipe, you can break it in half into two 10-foot pieces. They're made like that, so they come apart in the middle. But that's not easy to ship. It's not cheap,
and it's still going to weigh the same.
Yeah. And so actually the pallet that they attach it to often ends up weighing more than the antenna itself. But if they don't put it on that big, long wooden pallet, it'll get busted. Trucking companies will destroy it. So it has to be protected in transit, and that's how they do that. So, and that's part of the expense.
And yeah, like you said, when people first get it with GMRS and getting, different radios, Chinese radios, different things. Not saying that anything is bad in particular, but if you get a good quality setup, you can rest assured moving forward you don't have any problems. One of the radios I got, I had problems receiving.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine, doing this on a wide scale, on a big community-wide scale, where you have repeaters that are going out to multiple cities.
Right. Let's break.
So yeah, I think it's just great that we have great quality equipment and commercial grade, and that helps all of us to kind of step it up and have the best station that we can have at home as well.
Yeah, and it does make a difference too. Like for instance, when you're on the fringe, if you're barely making it into the repeater and your signal is really noisy, at some point people just kind of get tired of hearing that.
Yeah.
And so you might not be able to get a response when you call out. If you don't make improvements to your station, you've lived that.
I have.
You were there when you first started. Your signal was poor, and I don't remember specifically hearing you, but I'm sure that people might hear, there's Rogers again. There's Rogers again, noisy as can be.
No, it wasn't even that. It was Data was like, we hear a station out there, but you're covered in snow.
Right.
So they didn't even know who I was in the beginning. So changing the radio up, changing the coaxial. I didn't know, so I just bought the first thing I saw off of Amazon.
That's what we all do.
Yeah,
and that's key.
And I started with the BTEC GMRS Pro 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand at the time. It was a little bit frustrating because you could buy the what was that, the I can't remember the model number. The $25 Bofang was the same radio.
UV5R.
Yeah, the UV5R. The same radio, but it was half the price. And so I learned it's not exactly the same radio. It looks like it's the same on the outside and maybe partially on the inside, but the firmware and there's differences. But it was frustrating. And so many people have started off with a radio because they didn't know any better. Why you can't use a Part 97 radio. It has to be a Part 95.
So I want to drop a plug because you made the buy ones, cry once statement, and we're talking about that. This is the time of year when we get a lot of new members. This is the time of year where people that maybe are getting into GMRS over the holidays and discover the network. The plug that I want to drop is, and I did this for someone just in the last 24 hours. The Facebook page that we have is an excellent resource for people that are thinking about buying equipment, whether it's antennas or coax cables or power supplies or radios. Ask on the Facebook page. You've got hundreds of members that are monitoring that can give you their experience. This is a good radio. This is not a good radio. Well, this is what happened when I bought that radio. Also, the Facebook page has a file section, and many of us have uploaded our configurations for some of the more popular. Let me break. Some of the more popular radios that are out there. You can find a configuration that may not be exactly what you want, but it gets you there 95% of the way, and you can go in there and tweak the little things you want to change. But I think those of you on YouTube can see that file section. Chances are, if you have a popular radio, that someone has loaded it up there. Or even if it's not up there, ask the question, does anyone have a code plug for this particular radio? And many of us will just take it, upload it, and get you started, save you hours of programming time.
Yes, yeah, and lots of advice and lots of unlike a lot of Facebook pages where you go and you ask a question and you get 10 people that berate you for being a noob and, you know, do some research and why do you have to ask dumb questions. And it's not like that on our Facebook page. So there's lots of people that are adamantly opposed to anything to do with Facebook, and I get it. That's fine. But if you are a Facebook user, I recommend that you go to our page, ask the questions there. You're not going to get beat up. And here's the thing that I find most remarkable about our Facebook page is we do very little moderation. Very rarely do we have to go in and take action on posts that are in there. If your post isn't directly related to what we do and who we are and what we're about, we're probably not going to approve it. But if you're on there and you're asking a question, I don't have to go in and remind people to be nice. I don't have to go in and take comments down because they're snarky. That's not happening. We're not doing that. You're going to get good quality answers from people that care about giving you the best answer they know how. Now, they might tell you to buy a Whooshy radio because that's what they think is the best radio. I'm going to tell you, buy a Kenwood. Buy a Motorola. Buy an ICOM. Buy one that is a solid Part 90 commercial grade radio, and you won't have any problems with it. Everything is a roll of the dice outside of those name brands.
It's like asking somebody what's the best truck. Everybody has their own opinion, and they're all right. There's no right answer, but we can give you all of our experience, and we can give you all of our knowledge and share that, and then you can make the best decision for you. And, Facebook is great. Facebook is not so great. I get it. People don't do Facebook, but that's good. That's fine. That's why we have the Meet and Geek. Another plug. I'll drop in another plug. Come to the Meet and Geek, and we'll help you program that radio with the mobile workbench, and we'll help you set it up.
Yeah, and if you can't make it to Ed's gathering, when is that?
That is January 13th, the second Tuesday of every month in Kennesaw at the Old Town Grill.
So, let me break. So if you're not comfortably retired and are a working stiff and you can't make lunch on Tuesday, there's also Pamela's gathering on Saturday that you can go to. Now, the level of support might be a little bit different, but it's still there. And if they can't answer the question, they can at least know who you should ask or how to get you the help that you need. So Pamela's gathering is also a good one to go to. The gathering up at Roosters in Dahlonega. There's a lot of folks that are at that gathering that are very knowledgeable about radios and programming and how to get you set up, and they may not have the tools on location to get it done for you there, but there again, they know how to put you in touch with the right people to get you the assistance that you need.
And again, with the knowledgeable people that we have as part of our membership, unless you have a brand new radio that just came out, chances are that somebody either at these gatherings or on the Facebook page either has that same radio or has had it or knows someone that's had it. So we can get you to the right people, as Justin said.
Yeah. If your radio is a Qualcomm or a Harris, you might have a hard time finding somebody that's got that radio that can help you with programming. But if you've got one of the normal radios that we normally would have, then there's somebody out there that's already been through programming the radio that you're holding in your hand, and we can get you the file, or we can find somebody to talk you through it. Tim Barrett is one. He is fantastic. I can't tell you how many times somebody will post a question on Facebook. I've got this radio, and I can't seem to get it to receive a repeater. Well, Tim will look up your radio. He'll find the manual for your radio online, and he'll study the manual, and he'll come back with step-by-step directions that are basically right out of the manual for your radio. It's not that Tim has that radio. It's that he has taken the time and researched the manual and learned how to program your radio, even though he doesn't even have one. So I can't tell you how many times I've seen him do that. And we have other people on the network, too, that would very much like to help you get on the air. So
Yeah, we don't use the term Elmers much in GMRS, but we have Elmers.
I know we have Houstons.
And Houston's. That's just what I was thinking. I was just going to say, Houston helped me out get my Kenwoods going when I first started tremendously. He was very willing to help. But I would say really went out of his way to help me and got me started. Is it Bobby that's the ICOM
He
guru?
can only monitor. Yeah. We might not hear from Bobby tonight, but maybe if he's at Joe's, he'll be talking with us on the Kenwood radio. Let me break. So yeah, lots of good resources, lots of good help to help get your radio up and running and performing on the network. So good stuff. Hey, we've got a whole roster full of people here we need to talk to, and let's see if we can find anybody in here other than Dana. Anybody other than Dana? That looks like Dana's it. Colt, I know Colt tried to check in a couple of times, but we didn't hear him, so he'll have to try again. Let's try Atlanta 250, Dana, high atop Mount Olympus. Dana, you have any questions or comments about the membership with North Georgia GMRS Network? And have you renewed yet?
Well, first, good evening to you, Justin, and Mr. Rogers there, and Mr. Ed. You all are doing a fantastic job. Yeah, I did way back in September. I actually became the second member of the new North Georgia ARA and upgraded my 2026 NG GMRS at the same time. Let me break. Oh, yeah, somebody's trying to key up over me. What I did want to augment is, the different costs associated with, there's repeater sites, and we're talking leases. We don't own all of these towers, so we do lease spots on these towers to put our equipment on. Then we got power bills, that we have to pay for. We have backup power bills, generators that need maintenance and items like that. Grounds control, we need sometimes landscapers
Major
to go
Tom?
in and maintain properties. Let me break. Security measures, cameras, things like to protect our investments that are there at the different locations. And I know you've already tapped on it, manpower, as far as, climbing crews and things like that. So I could fill up a page probably of different costs associated with operating a single repeater. And you times it by 23, and you're right, Justin. At the end of the count, there's no money left. So let me move on. Second thing I wanted to say is about our, I'm sending huge kudos out to our lifetime members. Every single one of them, they are to be held in regard. They have invested in this network, and most of them are prominent voices out there, and which, in my definition, could be used greatly as, network ambassadors. And that's what they should be viewed as. So, other than that, not much to say, but good job tonight, and I hope I added to the information a little bit. Back to you.
Well, good stuff, Dana. And yeah, we really do have quite a large network here. We have the resource that we have is just phenomenal when you consider that you can get on the air in Knoxville and be able to talk to somebody in Columbus, and be able to have coverage up and down I-75 throughout most of that. It really is nice to be able to have that kind of a resource. And some of the folks that look at the membership dues that we have, and they look at some of the other clubs in the area, dues are $25 or $35 a year. In some cases, I think they're as high as $50 a year. You take a look at what you're getting for that $25 to $50. Often just 2 or 3 repeaters, and then what kind of equipment are they operating, and what kind of arrangement do they have for their tower location? Do they negotiate something with the county and they're there for free? Are they paying for tower space? What kind of reserves do they have to replace equipment if it fails? If they have to replace a repeater, do they have one on hand that they can just go and make a hardware swap? When people look at what the costs are for North Georgia Amateur Radio Association or NGGMRS, consider that we're not just some small club that has 2 or 3 repeaters. We are much, much larger than that. And when you weigh out what we have to offer versus what you get from a local amateur radio club, the value is pretty significant. And I think that we have a lot more bang for the buck in terms of the economy of scale that you get either out of the GMRS side or the amateur radio side. So if you're looking strictly at value, I would never suggest that you not be a part of your local amateur radio club. In fact, even if you're not a ham, I think that GMRS members could benefit from being a part of a local ham club, just for the fellowship opportunities, for the opportunity to network with knowledgeable people, the opportunity to serve in radio service in various ways through the club. Lots of benefits to being a member of a local GMRS club. And some of that stuff is not stuff that you're going to be able to get with North Georgia GMRS or North Georgia Amateur Radio Association. But some of the things that you can get from North Georgia Amateur Radio Association is a network of high quality, high performance linked repeaters that covers a very, very large area. Not necessarily something that you want for Skywarn or for storm spotting, but it is something that you might want to be able to engage in communications daily with people throughout the region. One of the things that I heard very often when so many of the GMRS networks through the country were voluntarily dropping their links, let me break. Back in 2024, when so many clubs or groups were voluntarily discontinuing their GMRS links, time and time again, you'd see people making comments about how dead the repeater is now. Mm-hmm. So when you link 2 or 3 or more repeaters together, you increase the number of operators who have access to that network exponentially. You have a far greater number. If you're just a single repeater and it's not linked, then the only people you're going to engage with are the people that are within range of that repeater and monitoring at that time. When you add in a second repeater, you double that number. When you add in a 10th or 11th repeater, you have increased that number to the point where now you can engage in a conversation virtually at any time of the day. And that's what we have here that so many repeater groups never experience. I hear people all the time talk about North Georgia GMRS just plugging up the airwaves. Do you know when we study how many minutes a day that our repeaters are active?
You would think it's all day how some people talk.
It's 60, 75 minutes each
total
day. Yeah, some days we get into the 90 minutes. On Thursdays we get into a couple of hours. It's not what you would think. And so the argument that you can't get in on any repeater anywhere, it's just not valid. It's just not, all the arguments that I hear people make about why we shouldn't be here, none of them hold up. Not to reality. They do hold up to the fantasy. If you want to say that we're occupying every frequency, well, we are. We are. Absolutely we are. But that's not how GMRS works. You can actually have more than one repeater on the same frequency. You use PL tones to separate them. And
I was about to say, that's why we have PL tones, right?
That works pretty well. So a lot of the noise and the arguments that you hear opposed to what we're doing are based in ignorance and a lack of understanding of how things really work. So, and just like the recording that was played a little while ago talking about all the revenue that North Georgia GMRS brings in, there's no reality there. I mean, that's all speculation and conjecture based on bad information. And you can have sore feelings about what we do if you buy into that stuff, but the reality is just a little bit different. And that's we haven't been here since 2007 because we're ripping people off. That's not how that works. And if we had that going on, the reputation would be in front of us, and we would never be able to have achieved what we have. We got here because of the quality people and because this is an up-and-up organization.
And realistically, I think maybe if I went up to the top of Stone Mountain with an HT, I might be able to hear an NG GMRS. Let me break. If I'm up at the top of Stone Mountain with an HT, I might be able to hear an NG GMRS repeater on all 8 of the frequencies.
Mm-hmm.
But, for example, in my home, I can only get flagship and one other repeater.
Yeah.
So the other 6 frequencies, I can't get North Georgia GMRS repeater. So if there were other repeaters near me, I would certainly be able to hear them. So to say that all 8 are in use, technically that's correct.
Yep.
But realistically, unless you're at the top of a very high mountain, you're not going to hear all 8. It's impossible.
And if you are in that geographic situation, lucky you.
Yeah.
Because the reality is that this repeater is not transmitting continuously throughout the day. There are times when it's not on at all. And so there's opportunities, on the air. If you want to be on at the same moment that somebody's on our network, then that's going to be a challenge. But the reality of that is that's going to be a tough thing to accomplish, to be on at the exact same moment day after day, that this network is busy. And so I think that there's lots of opportunity to share the airwaves, just as we are successfully sharing the airwaves with the Cherokee County Repeater Group, the 725 up there on Pine Log. The Big Shanty Radio Group has a repeater up there on Sweat Mountain, and there's a GMRS repeater up in Jasper. The Jasper Amateur Radio Club has a GMRS repeater now. We're not hearing interference from those repeaters, and there's possibility that they're hearing some from us, but that doesn't mean that they can't operate. That just means you're going to have to wait for a moment for our traffic to end, and then yours is going to be back again. But if your squelch is open at the moment that another radio is transmitting on that frequency, it's going to carry through. You're going to have some level of interference no matter what, and that's just the nature of GMRS. That's why the rules don't really prohibit multiple repeaters on the same frequency. And there's no expectation of coordination in GMRS radio, because there is an expectation that you will have some level of interference.
And I remember last year when we were doing the Simplex Challenge. It was I don't know if it was the atmosphere. Definitely was atmosphere, tropospheric ducting or something. And Dana and myself, we could key up, and we were hitting this the Columbus repeater off of Pine Mountain. I think it was maybe 1 or 2 other people that could hear or key that up. And the guy actually came back, and he was like, "Where are you from?" Like, "We're here." So he was down in Columbus. We were up here in Atlanta, North Georgia, lighting up their repeater. And Dana was a gentleman. He negotiated the use of it. Let me break. And he just let the guy know, hey, we're having our weekly Simplex Net. This is what's going on. We apologize if you have, there's any interference. But, we got to do our thing right now. And, but we settled it like gentlemen. And the guy was like, well, he was more amazed that we could hear each other.
That's what I was going to say. That was his thing, how far away are you guys? This is amazing that we can talk to each other that way.
Yeah. So, a lot of things can be settled if we're a gentleman about it and just, just have fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So all good stuff. Hey, let's get back into this roster and see who's next. Dana is who we just talked to. So let's see if Atlanta 403 Bobby is Bobby. What was on the menu at the Vortex tonight?
Oh, good afternoon, gentlemen.
That sounds like a Kenwood radio.
Tonight it was pizza and pasta salad and some breadsticks. So it was a simple meal at the Vortex tonight, but it was very, very filling. We're all sitting around full.
Well, it's those simple meals that are often my favorites. So, when we get to those restaurants that have fancy sauces and spreads, and I have no idea what they are. It turns out it's just ketchup. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't appreciate that. If that's what it is ketchup, you should call it that. Simple foods. That's what I like. But Bobby, what are your thoughts with membership with North Georgia GMRS? You think you're going to renew?
Oh, yeah. I'm retired. Once I get my Social Security check in the bank, I'll renew later this month. I've been with it for, in January or February will be 9 years I've been with it. So, I'm there every year. I hang in there, and, I plan on renewing. Like I said, I just got to wait for some money to come, and, no problem. And, talking back to food, I'm psyched for that Rooster Burger come Wednesday. I'm waiting for that. That's always the big highlight of my month. Waiting for that Rooster Burger.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, I suppose. And that's really what it boils down to. No matter what we do, however we engage with other radio users, there's always a meal involved. Seems like we always engage in a meal on Thursday nights too.
Yeah, and GMRS and food goes well together.
I think people and food. It doesn't matter if it's radio or if it's race cars. There's always going to be food. So that's just what we are. But good stuff, Bobby. And I think it sounds to me like, Bobby, are you on a Kenwood radio?
I'm on Joe's Kenwood. I was going to lie to you and say we smoked up as Kenwood, and then I had to bring over a spare Icom. But I'm on this Kenwood. But they're all the same. It's just what you like. But what could I tell you? To each his own.
Well, I can't resist getting my digs in from time to time. So appreciate you being a sport, and that's good stuff. So Joe's Kenwood Radio is sounding great. Is Joe in tonight, or is he in and out?
I believe Joe is in and out. He's got the sneezes tonight. Whenever the weather changes, it affects his sinuses. He doesn't want to get on and start sneezing or anything.
All right, very good. Well, Tim Barrett, if you're listening, you're going to be coming up here very soon. So hang around here right after Pamela in Duluth. Atlanta 849, Pamela. What's your plan? You think you're going to renew? And what are your thoughts about supporting the North Georgia GMRS Network?
Well, gentlemen, I did make it here in time to be able to catch you in doing a good job, filling my ears with all kinds of information. But, I believe Ernest has already done that, if I recall correctly. He took care of it. He does that kind of book work, so I leave it up to him. But, great. Great hearing all the names of the list of the lifetime members, and I recognize most of them, and then some of them I don't have a clue who they are, but we're glad they're there and know that it does take a lot of money to keep everything going, and between medical things this season and house stuff, wish we could be one of those members, but it's not possible right now. Let me break. And, I missed getting Ernest in for the relay. I was kind of sidetracked at that moment. I just wanted to get my name in there and make sure I got in. And you're talking about the different radios. We tried 2 or 3, and we were learning at that time also before we actually landed, of course, on the Wushin G1000 Plus. Started out with 3 of them. One is the one I'm talking on right now, and the other 2 were okay, but they did not like being inside the house, and where we're located is kind of a low area. Let me break. So the G1000 Plus has done a great job for us in this car, but we do have one of the Ken would, because Ernest, being an amateur general now, that's sharing the space in the car with my GMRS radio. You have any questions for me?
No, Pamela, we just appreciate your support of the network and your monthly gatherings and your drive and your evangelism. I think is probably a good word to describe, because she talks about us everywhere she goes, and she's all the time introducing people to North Georgia GMRS Radio. So just want to say thanks for that support and for doing what you do. And with that, I think let's go see if McDonough 22 is still awake. Tim, do you have any comments for the net tonight?
He may be gone.
All right, not hearing anything from Tim. We've got Chattanooga 260 Colt in downtown Dalton. We're going to have to try him again. So we'll come back to Colt here in just a little bit. Atlanta 468 Jason incoming. Did you have any comments for tonight's net? All right, Jason may have been in and out, so I'm going to go ahead and show him that way in a log. And the same thing is true for Peter in Alpharetta, Atlanta 179. Peter, did you have any comments for tonight's net? All right, we're going to go ahead and show Peter as in and out as well. And that'll bring us to Atlanta 1402. Todd, the Silver Dollar Man. Todd, do you have any comments or questions for tonight's net? All right, we're going to show Todd as in and out, and I don't think I have any choice at this point but to call on Chattanooga 260 Colt in the beautiful downtown Dalton, Georgia, hanging out in front of the tire shop. Colt, do you have any comments for tonight?
This is Chattanooga 260 WSCM 494. Yeah, renewed my membership tonight, even through all the hazing. That's always fun, though. I only renewed my membership due to Justin, your beard game. Your beard is so lovely to watch on YouTube. I have to continue to pay my membership for the next year. I actually bought my dad a membership tonight, so we're going to get him involved. Hopefully it'll be Chattanooga 261. He's a retired GSP officer. That being said, guys, y'all are doing a good job. I know you feel like you need to justify all the ins and outs from the chaos, but you don't. I think for us that are members, we do know the value. We do understand where the money goes. We do understand the cost of all involved, and we do understand the amount of time that y'all volunteer to put into it. And that doesn't go unnoticed, the small things, and the relationships and all the different efforts. So the things that y'all are doing, keep it up, and we're all better for that. That being said, if there was a cost to sponsor the Tiki Bar, like NPR, where it goes, this Tiki Bar is sponsored a part by for the ARA side, we'd be more than happy to have a conversation. Chattanooga 260, WSCM 494, back to you, Net Control.
I'll tell you, I think probably the one thing the Tiki Bar needs most of all is a qualified bartender.
There you
go. That's never been something that the Tiki Bar has been able to make a claim to. So if you know of anybody interested in filling that role, that would be helpful.
You know, we were talking earlier. Maybe get one of those Tesla robots and just have them just chained there. Like I wouldn't want them roaming around the property, but just have them there. And like, hey, dude, you know, we need some burgers for Thursday night or whatever.
So we've had some conversations, you and I, about utilizing AI, like in particular for things like writing scripts and writing, you know, stuff related to the Thursday night program. And what has my response about AI been?
I don't know. I know you're hesitant about it.
I'm scared to death of it, quite honestly. You know, I have not. I mean, I've been in a room where people have done AI stuff on their phone, and they've not been electrocuted or anything like that. So I know that at some level you can survive interactions with AI, but fundamentally, in my core, I cannot.
Too many Terminator movies.
You know,
Matrix.
and so thinking about the Tesla robot, I've seen that movie, and you know, that resonates with me. I think the world is going to look a lot different in 10 years than it does right now today. I think that we are on the edge of some very, very big and exciting and terrifying changes. And I've got a lot of reservations here. I'm a technology nerd, but
it's not all there. And I say that, and my wife is watching on YouTube probably, and she's laughing because she knows what I want to say. But I get pleasure out of working with AI on my phone and catching it and telling me incorrect information.
Mm-hmm.
And when I catch her on it, because I have a female voice on my AI, she says, "Oh, good catch. You're right." And I ask her, "Why didn't you tell me that information before?" Then the fallback is always, "I did a cursory review, and upon further research, you're absolutely correct. The right answer is blah 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 blah." But it's a good help. I would not rely on it 100%, but I don't have any problems using it to get me something to start with,
mm-hmm.
and then going in and editing or going back and tweaking it. But you know, be careful, because if you depend on it and you treat it as gospel, as they say, you're gonna make some mistakes.
Yeah, definitely. Let's break. Well, I think that's true. We've seen plenty of evidence of that. That, you know, in its raw form, AI is a little primitive. But at the same time, I see, like, for instance, the work that I do for the railroad, that is 100% a job that AI could do, and probably do well. With a little human oversight, AI is probably 5 years away from being self-sufficient in that role. So I look for my job to be eliminated by that technology at some point within 5 years. Now, I may be able to stick around as some kind of an overseer, supervisor, but, you know, in order for me to hold that role, I'm going to have to learn a lot about AI, and I at my core, I just don't know that I can participate in that.
But look at Google, though. I mean, we Google things all the time. So imagine, you know, something the same as a Google, but finding all the information for you. You don't have to go to 20 different websites to see what's the best GMRS antenna or whatever. It'll pull up. You can specify, hey, pull up the 10 best GMRS antennas for mobile use or for home use. And yeah, like Ed said, you may have to go back and double check just to make sure. Don't take it as gospel, and then just evaluate it for yourself. And then if it looks good, move forward. That's one, and it saves you time.
The medical field is a great example, because there are many cases now, where AI has looked at MRI scans, looked at X-rays, and have found cancer in people that other doctors have missed before. So it's a great tool, and it's a great time saver for medical, for research, and so forth. But I, for one, would not want to go under the knife because AI said that I had something. I would want a doctor to verify what AI did. And it's a great tool if you use it within those constraints and limits, but
Well-
it is what it is. It's a great tool.
I'm still very apprehensive about it, and until I have Sarah Connor in my contacts list, and John Connor, until I have those phone numbers that I can consult with on a pretty regular basis, I'm going to steer clear from the Tesla robot making drinks at the Tiki Bar, and I'm going to keep doing my own writing. Now, I'm the first one to say that my writing is not the best. My humor, my grammar, I'm not really author material. And I'm sorry, North Georgia GMRS, but until somebody can outdo me, you're stuck with me. Let's break. So good stuff, Colt. And we'll have to talk about naming rights to the Tiki Bar. I don't know what you have in mind. I kind of like calling it the Tiki Bar. Are we talking about the Helton Tire Tiki Bar? The Tired Tiki Bar? I don't know where to go with that. I think there's a lot of possibilities, and very few of them are any good. But just wanted to grab some comments out of the live stream here real quick. A couple of them that kind of caught my eye, and Tony's been kind of helping out with this too. The comment about the Kenwood radios being good radios for amateur as well. Like for instance, our 440 radios that we're using for GMRS will also work in ARA frequencies as well. So once you have a membership in ARA, those radios can be programmed with most of the ARA frequencies. Now they won't do the 2 meter repeater that we have for ARA, but they'll do all of the 440 machines. So that's a great thing to have, is that in that same radio you can do GMRS and you can do the amateur repeaters on that Part 90 radio. So thanks, Mark, for making that comment. And also I saw somebody make a comment about being helpful and not being judgmental within the group, and that is something that I very much am very proud of. This group of people has very much taken on that character, and not with it's not something that we've had to try to foster or drive. It's something that's just kind of taken on from the quality of people that have chosen to become a part of North Georgia GMRS, and that's one thing that I don't want to make light of. The quality of people that have come here, that have chosen to be a part of this, is just a cut above what I find in other parts of the world. So hats off to the membership of North Georgia GMRS for just being the people that you are, and for the quality of conversations and relationships and interactions that I've been able to enjoy. And I know that so many others appreciate that too. I've heard it said a number of times, and I think it's the truth. In amateur radio, we work hard at making contacts, all right, and we log a lot of contacts, and we can be very proud of the number of contacts and the number of states and the number of countries, and it's all about the contacts. But in GMRS radio, it's really about the relationships, all right. It's not so much that we've made a contact today, but that we've made a friend. And I think wherever you would go throughout North Georgia GMRS Network, you're going to find people that have met people and friends that have turned out to be deep, quality, long-lasting relationships. Let me break. And I don't know if that's unique to North Georgia GMRS, or if there are other radio groups throughout the country that have accomplished that, but it's something that I'm very honored to be a part of here at North Georgia GMRS, because I honestly do feel like I've met and made a lot of friends with some really high quality people. And one thing that I've endeavored to do in my life is I like to find people that I can gain something from. If you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. And I find that here at North Georgia GMRS, I'm in the right place more often than I'm not, and there's a lot of great people here, and just proud to be a part of that. All right, let's take another look at the roster. I think we've got some additional YouTube check-ins to make, and then we'll take a final round of RF check-ins here. We've got Dallas 64 Josh in Dallas is checking in on YouTube. Gainesville 43 David in Winder checking in on YouTube. We have a guest check-in from WSAS 412 in Cleveland, Ohio. He says he appreciates us, and it's refreshing to find a group that's helpful and not judgmental. Thank you for that. I think I saw that comment when I was looking at the chat. We have Rome 27 Terry in Menlo is a YouTube check-in. We have WSJN 304 Gary is checking in on YouTube. In Atlanta 245 Thomas in Powder Springs says he just renewed as a silver and says they are in. Okay. I probably missed the reference to that, but that's what we have. At this time, let's go ahead and grab some additional check-ins from any repeater anywhere. One round of late check-ins. Any questions or comments? If you have a comment, just come on the air and say comment and give us your TAC number. And if you have a check-in, then you know the drill. Just go ahead and make your check-in. Net Control standing by. Did I miss anybody?
Comment from Atlanta 403. When you get a chance.
I don't think so.
RKK629, Chattanooga 84, checking in.
Atlanta 250 with a comment.
Did you get that late check-in? There's one person before the comments.
Jim, Chat 84.
Yeah, I think that was it.
All right, long and awkward pause there just to make sure everybody had a chance to jump in. We've got check-in from Chattanooga 84 Jim in Hickson. I'll come back to you here in just a moment, Jim. Also a YouTube check-in from Gainesville 113 Keith in Buford. And we have comments from Atlanta 403 and Atlanta 250. First, let's go to Jim. Chattanooga 84. Jim, any questions or comments for tonight's net? Chattanooga 84. Any questions or comments?
Well, I renewed my membership and have been enjoying the network for many years. Also, where I met Uncle Mike, and we've shared a lot of good times together. Sad to see him go. And, yeah, there's a lot of amazing talent in GMRS and a lot of good people. Just want to echo that. I think that's about all I got, Justin. WRKK629. Clear.
Very good, Jim. Yeah, I'd have to agree that a lot of good people and a lot of good relationships, a lot of long-time relationships, too. And I know you've been here for a minute, and glad to know that you've renewed and plan on sticking around. And there's a number of people that have commented that they have renewed. I guess what I want to say is thanks for everybody that did renew. These are trying times, and quite honestly, I do expect there's going to be quite a large number, maybe larger than we've had in years past, people that don't renew, and I get it. And I just want to say this. Consider the fact, if you throw in the towel because of the interference that's going on, you're letting them win. If you stick around and you stick through this with us and you're here through the duration of however long this lasts, and you can be here when we finally put an end to this, you can take pride in knowing that you stuck with us through thick and thin. And I'm going to take pride in knowing where my support is in the support from North Georgia GMRS. And I know the support is there. I know there's a lot of people that are going to be here pretty much no matter what. For those of you that are on a fence, if you're not monitoring the radio like you once were, if you have to turn it off during the week because you don't want that coming into your house, you don't want that coming around your kids, your grandkids, I get it. Quite honestly, I'm listening less than I ordinarily would be, but I'm still listening. And as aggravated as I might be at times, I know that it's my chore to be aware of what's going on the network, and I know that at some point this is going to get stopped. So things are in motion, but they have been ever since. It's just not the easiest thing in the world to do. So we've had to endure this, and I'm just going to ask you to be patient, have some faith, and I'm going to say thanks for your support. So with that, let's jump down to our comments from Atlanta 403.
Yeah, hi guys. I just happen to be looking at the ARA membership roster, and I wanted to say congratulations to John Dominkowitz. Sorry, John, if I messed up your last name, but Atlanta 11, also known as Kilo 4, Kilo Victor, India. He just became, looks like the 100th member of the ARA. So I just wanted to throw that in there and say congratulations again, John. And hopefully we'll see you on Wednesday at Roosters. Comments?
Go ahead, John, with your comment.
Hey, that's kind of funny, Bobby. Certainly appreciate that. I thought it would be kind of cool to be the 100th member, so it's a good time to join. So thanks, Bobby. Great night tonight, Justin and company there. Atlanta 11, WRBG 415.
Well, congratulations, John. Glad to know that you are the number 100 NGARA member. So that's very cool stuff. I knew that the 100th member had rolled in because I saw a text chime in while I was on the air, and but I didn't have a chance to go into the rolls to see who it was. So that's very cool, John. Glad to know that it's you. Thanks for bringing that up, Bobby, and appreciate that. Anything else?
No, that's about it. And have a good one next week. I'll be at the White County CERT graduation, so I will not be on the network next week, but we'll talk to you when we talk to you. And WRAT 241, Atlanta 403, it'll be clear. Everybody have a good one.
All right. Very good, Bobby. Well, thanks for letting me know. We'll reserve all of our comments for next week while you're absent, and appreciate that heads up. Atlanta 250, Dana from high atop Mount Olympus. Comments?
Yes, sir, Justin, and I just wanted to take a moment. This is going to, we only have a couple of more, if that, nets before we start 2026. You gave a little bit of a dissertation about yourself, and my comment on YouTube was you are better than you think you are. And I just want to say, from somebody who's been running their own net for about 3 years now, and I'm 20 years probably your senior, if not more. But I look up to you because you're very, very good at what you do. You're an extremely eloquent speaker, and I just wanted to say, thanks for everything that you do. There it goes. thanks for everything that you do for the NGGMRS as Chief of Operations and the NGARA. So many applause.
Well, thank you, Dana. I'm not quite sure how to take that, but thank you for the comment and the compliment. I guess here's the bottom line here, because we're all getting paid the same, right? It's a volunteer gig. Yep. Everything that I do for North Georgia GMRS, I'm doing pro bono. This is something that I'm doing because I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying the effort. I'm enjoying the fruit of that labor. I'm enjoying the response that I get from the audience. I'm enjoying the participation from the members during the nets, and it's all of you who make this the joy that it is to be a part of. And I'm honored. I'm honored by Dana's words, but more than that, I'm honored that so many people tune in on a Thursday night and engage in this journey with us. And thanks to all of you for making North Georgia GMRS what it is. I think the rest of us in here would parrot that sentiment that our appreciation is for you. And so many of the decisions that go into what we do and how we do it are based around what's going to drive the audience, what's gonna make them participate, what's gonna make them appreciate what we do. So I know that there's shortcomings in a number of areas, and specifically what they are. If I knew how to fix them, if I knew how to make this a better program than it is, we would go down that road. So
well, I would say this: show me another a better GMRS network and net. Yeah. Like what we have. I haven't seen it.
Well, I haven't seen it either, but that doesn't mean it's not out there. I don't know that we are the best at what we do, but we are the best that North Georgia GMRS has to offer. So
I would say that we're the best.
We strive to be the best.
Yeah.
And that's really the goal here. Is I if I can find a way to improve, I do look at suggestions when they come in, and some of them are really good. And some of them we've acted on, and some of them we've given it a try, and okay, it's kind of a good idea, but it didn't really work. And I'm not really closed to anything. We'll try anything once, maybe twice. If we do it 3 times, it might be a habit. But in any case, thanks to all of you for making North Georgia GMRS what it is. Hey, I think we're at that part of the script that I can never find when we get there.
But you know it blindfolded.
Yeah, I should. But if I can't see this concludes, if I can't see that on the screen, my brain just will not process. Let me break. So I'm going to go ahead and say this concludes the North Georgia GMRS Regional Net. Tonight we had a total of, it looks like 75. I think we have a blank line in there somewhere. So we're going to call it 74, 73. It looks like 72. We keep looking at this. I'm going to find fewer.
Stop looking.
72 check-ins. I think that's a number we can get past the auditors. 72 check-ins to tonight's net, including the YouTube check-ins. Thanks a lot for the folks that were hanging out with us on YouTube. I appreciate that. 72 chickens, including net control. We're now going to return all of these repeaters back to normal use. Everyone who signed in should sign out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, comments on YouTube video shows engagement with the video and helps the channel grow. Tune in next week on any North Georgia GMRS linked repeater. We'll be talking... Rogers, do you know what the topic's going to be next week?
I'm not sure, but we're close to Christmas at that point.
And we're going to talk about Christmas presents and Santa Claus and all the reindeer.
All the gifts and everything we're doing.
Fantastic. All right, so it'll be a holiday themed net next week. So be sure and tune in for that. And thanks for allowing us to serve as your net control tonight. Good night, everyone. This is Atlanta 946 WQYR 514. My name is Justin.
And this is Atlanta 557 WRQ G806. My name is Ed.
And this is WSAL 368, Atlanta 263. My name is Rogers.
And I want to say thanks to Tony, Atlanta 1150, for helping out with logging tonight. Really appreciate that effort. Good night, everyone. We are North Georgia GMRS Network.
And thanks to all the members.
And thanks to all the members. We are clear.
Good night.
Good night.